Hey guys, it's me again here with day 16. I'm behind posting. I haven't got any emails that you're looking, so I hope you haven't been waiting for me. Okay, day 16, natural selection worksheet. You're going to click on it on the Google Classroom. Sometimes this happens. Open in a new window. Wow, I am doing this in a dark room. Okay, the first one is done for you. If I were you, I would either get out a piece of paper and title it Darwin's Natural Selection Worksheet Day 16, or I would start a Google Doc and title it the same thing. Read the following situation below and identify the 5 points of Darwin's natural selection. All right, number 1. There are 2 types of worms that eat at night and worms that eat during the day. The birds eat during the day and seem to only be eating the diurnal worms, the ones that eat during the day too. The nocturnal worms are in their burrows during this time. Each spring when the worms reproduce, they have about 500 babies, but only 100 of these 500 ever become old enough to reproduce. What worm has natural selection selected against? So what worm is less likely to survive? So that would be the diurnal worms, because those are the ones being eaten. And what worm has natural selection selected for? So which ones will survive? Obviously nocturnal worms, because birds are asleep when they're out eating. Okay, so now you have to go through part B for each question. So there's 5 points, Darwin's 5 points to identify for each scenario. All right, so population has variation. So what population are we talking about? We're talking about a group of worms. There's variation in these groups, meaning there's differences. What's the difference? We have worms that stay up at night and worms that are up during the day. Okay, so some variations are favorable, meaning favorable if you have a favorite teacher, hint, hint, then that's the one that you like, right? So what of these, what variation, what variety is favored, is the favorite, meaning it's most likely to survive? Nocturnal. More offspring are produced than survive. So tell us, they said that 500 are produced, but only 100 survive to reproduce again. So 100 out of 500 offspring survive. Those that survive have favorable traits. So of these 100 that survive, what trait do you think they're most likely to have? This trait or this trait? Obviously this trait, because a lot of these are dying. There are a lot of the 400 that die. Okay, so a population would change over time. So over time, we're going to see what kind of worms. Some of these, more of these, less of these, or more of these and less of these. We're obviously going to see more of these. Okay, so let's do number 2 together. There are 3 types of polar bears, one with thick coats, one with thin coats, and ones with medium coats. It is fall, soon to be winter. The temperatures are dropping rapidly and the bears must be kept warm or they will freeze to death. Many of the bears have had about 2 cubs each, but due to the extreme temperatures, many mothers only have 1 cub left. That's sad. Okay, what bear will natural selection select against? So, it is fall, soon to be winter. The temperatures are dropping rapidly and the bears must keep warm. So what keeps you warm? In the winter when you go outside, what keeps you warm? A nice thick winter jacket. So is it the thick coats, thin coats, or medium coats that are going to not survive? Thin coats. Which ones are more likely to survive? Probably medium and thick. Okay, because right now it's fall, soon to be winter. All right, let's go through the 5. What population has variety? What's the variety or the differences in this population? Well, the population is of polar bears. And there are 3 types. So the variety is thick, thin, and medium coat polar bears. Some variations are favorable. So which variety is the favorite of those 3? You can give me 1 or 2. Okay, I'll do it with you. I'll have number 3. I'll walk you through and you'll have to figure it out yourself. So some variations are favorable. So the favorable, the one that's the favorite to win, is the thick coats and the medium coats because they're going to help them survive. So more offspring are produced than survive. So they said that all bears have about 2 cubs, but they have 1 left. So 1 out of 2 are surviving. Those that survive have favorable traits. So of those surviving, do you think that they have thick coats, thin coats, or medium coats? Well, obviously, if they survived, that means they were able to keep warm enough. So that means they had thick or medium coats. And so how will the population change over time? Will it change to thin coat bears, thick coat bears, or medium coat bears, or a combination? All right, so let me guide you through number 3. Remember, you can pause this video at any time to get your answers written down. Okay, in ostriches, there are 2 types, one that run fast and those that run slowly. The fast birds can reach up to 40 miles an hour. Jackals love to eat ostrich, and they can reach speeds up to 35 to 40 miles per hour. A flock of ostrich will lay about 10 eggs. Each mother only lays 1. Okay, so a flock will lay about 10. So if there's 10 mothers, or some mothers maybe don't have babies. Okay, but many rodents break into the eggs and eat the fetuses before they hatch. Oh, that's sad. Okay. So what ostrich will natural selection select against? So the predator is the jackal. He loves to eat ostrich and can reach speeds up to 35 miles per hour. If the fast birds can run 40 miles per hour, which ones are the jackals going to catch? The fast or the slow ones? Okay, which one are they not going to catch? So what has natural selection chose to win? The fast or the slow ones? Okay, so there's a population, and we're talking about a population of ostriches, and there are 2 types. Tell me those 2 types right here. All right, which of these 2 types is considered favorable, the favorite? Which one will win? More offspring are produced than survive. Okay, so they didn't tell us how many wouldn't survive, but they tell us how many. Oh my goodness. They tell us how many they have, and then that many of them don't make it because rodents break into the eggs and eat them. So you can just write that there. And so what's the favorable trait of the survivors? And then a population will change over time. So what trait will they have over time? All of them. All right, I will guide you through number 4. There are 2 types of rabbits, those that strictly eat grass and those that strictly eat berries and flowers. A drought occurs one year and the plants have difficulty producing any extras. Flowers, berries, etc. They can only try and keep themselves green. The rabbits that had babies all year long, but many are eaten by foxes or hawks. Due to the drought, many have starved to death. What rabbit will naturally be selected against? So, we have rabbits. Some eat just grass. Well, what color is grass? Ding, 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 green. And some eat just berries and flowers. So if a drought happens and the plants can't produce the flower or the berry and they just have the plant, which is green, what rabbit will survive or will not survive? And what will survive? All right, so population has variations. What is the differences between these two types of rabbits? List them here. Which one is the favorite? Which one is most likely to survive in this scenario? All right, so what happens that allows these animals not to survive? And then a population. So those that survive have favorable traits. What trait is most of the surviving animals going to have? And what trait will the population change to over time? Last one, a little bit less. Bob believes that giraffes have long necks because they have stretched their necks to try and reach food that are in high trees. Since the parent had stretched its neck, it passed the long neck onto its offspring. Ryan believes that giraffes have long necks because the ones with long necks were able to reach food, and those with short necks could not and died. The long-necked giraffes reproduced, and soon all giraffes had long necks. So tell me you can't okay, so the Lamerick theory and Darwin's theory we talked about in another episode, or another assignment, and that was the cavefish. And the Lamerick theory is that they changed their DNA, so by doing something. And then Darwin's theory is that the ones that survived reproduce and therefore pass that trait on. So which boy thinks like Lamerick and which boy thinks like Darwin? Or Guy, I guess I should say. Okay, guys, I hope this was relatively easy for you. Take a picture of your work and email it to your teacher, or share your Google Doc with them. Have a good night.